About 6 months ago, I brought a HTC Vive, and I was really keen to make stuff for VR. Now, in those past 6 months, I've learned a lot. I've discovered that even though it might be a small-scale project, there are little things that me personally find difficult. Basic stuff like enemy AI, for me, just turns into a blubbering mess because of all the details and me being a perfectionist. I understand now the big roadblocks that get in my way, and I hope to avoid them or to find ways to get around them so I don't just stop making stuff, but that I actually finish something. And I wish to invite you on this journey on making my first VR game start to finish. Just ignore all of this. This here is where you want to focus. I want to make a job simulator. Simple gameplay is this. There is a conveyor belt with an entrance and an exit, and packages come out of the conveyor belt, and the player here has to sort them into 3 categories, and that is either the normal delivery, bad, or good. And behind you, you have your workbench, which has a little clipboard and coffee. Now, the way it works is this. Packages come out either with a sad face or a happy face. So they're good or bad. Bad ones go in the bad box, and good ones can stay on the belt. On the little clipboard that you have little indicators that tell you what goes where. So at the beginning of a day, it might say all of the boxes with sunny icons on them go into the good box. And whatever you put into the good box, you get more money. That's the basic idea that I have for now. So let's get started. All right, so to begin prototyping, I'm going to launch my Unity hub, and Unity is going to be the game engine I'm going to be using. It's practically the software that puts all of the assets and things I work on together and turns it into the game. What we want is VR lightweight render pipeline. Practically, this package, although it's in preview, is made for VR, and we're going to call this Fun Factory, because for now, that is the code name of this game. And we hit create. And now I sit back and relax while the engine does all of the work for me.
I wish that was the case, but as soon as the engine opens up, I go and install a bunch of tools which help the engine speak to the VR headset.
I start to block out the level in the modeling program. Once I've blocked out everything and I'm happy with the scale, then I go on to texturing firstly the conveyor belt, and I experiment with this new tool called the shader graph. And instead of having to program materials and the way that things look, I actually connect nodes with different properties to make the material move on the object, as you can see here. After which I get a package model and work on the texture. And this is my favorite part because it brings out kind of the character of the game. Once I've placed it in the engine and it looks good, I test it. And as you can see here, it's now in engine and it looks beautiful. Next thing I do is I set up SteamVR a bit more so we have hands. and now you can pick it up and move it around. And you can see here I did some programming, and pretty much it just, once it collides with the conveyor belt, it moves in a certain direction. And you can see here the hand can pick up the package and throw it. Obviously the physics need to be adjusted, but we have that mechanic now working. Next is getting some of the UI working. This changes around a lot, but pretty much I have a screen which shows the salary and the timer of that level. Next, I make a mug. This is called the exit mug, and it's going to be an object which the player can pick up and smash against their face, and they'll get them out of the game. It's pretty much a clever way of having an exit button. So firstly, we model the object, and then what we do is called unwrapping, which is we have all the faces of the object spread out on a flat image, which is the texture. And then we draw onto that flat texture and it projects it onto the model. And this is how every 3D game is made pretty much. And we do this again for the main level for the floor. Now I'm using Photoshop to add more detail because the painting tool in Blender doesn't exactly have a wide range of tools like Photoshop. I sketch out things in Blender and then save the file, open it in Photoshop, and adjust it accordingly there. Now, I'd love to go through every step of the way with you through the process of making this game, but I think what we need right now is a time lapse.
Okay, let's have a bit of a post-mortem chat. Even though not every feature is finished and not every nook and cranny of the game is done, I am amazed at the fact that I have a stable game that's working. It looks good, it plays well, it has the features that it needs. You can start the game, you know what you have to do, there's a fail state, you can go through each level. Obviously there's more I'd like to add to it, and I'm going to, but I'm just very relaxed and happy with myself because for the first time, I have something that isn't missing something majorly. Everything is there. It's quite reassuring with the fact that the thing is with making games is that it's a very different art form from drawing and painting and modeling and all these other different artworks and music. These mediums are more linear. You start with a blank canvas, a blank project, and you can go between things sometimes, but it's not as fluid and as breakable as making a game. But the thing I love to look at right now is the progress that you can see through this development. We started off with a blank project, looked kind of ugly, it was just boxes. And then we added a few textures, programmed things to move and work, and it's amazing how quickly things went from a dull game that you can't really envision to something right now that, you know, it's close to being finished. It's amazing, it's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a really fun project to work on and something that I'm personally very proud of. So, what's next?